What's up, y'all? How's everyone feeling? You already know what's going on, man. I'm chilling here with exotic snacks. As always, I got their strawberry watermelon flavor. And that's how we gonna rock out today.
Hey everyone, this is Jocelyn letting you know that the conversation begins right now with your host, Heavy But Light.
We're about to get it rocking right now, though, y'all. I'm about to bring our guest in. Ashley about to enter the chat.
I'm here.
Hello. Thank you for joining
Hi.
us.
Thank you
How
for
are you
having
feeling?
me. I'm feeling good. I put on makeup for the first time in like forever. I took a
Yeah,
shower and shit.
I feel
I got
that.
some cologne on, some perfume.
Cologne and perfume. You doubled up. You doubled up. You said, listen, I don't know how
Y'all
far
finna
this
smell me
technology
through
can
the
go.
screen.
Right. I feel it. Got the red too on. I love it. Love the shade. You killing
Thank
it.
you.
First and foremost, thank you for joining us today, and being a part of this, giving us your time and giving us your thoughts.
Oh, thank
If
y'all for
if
the
anybody doesn't
for the
know,
compliments in there. I
yeah,
see the
yeah, they
compliments in
definitely they definitely hyping you up. Y'all show her some love, y'all.
there. Thank
Show her
you.
some love. Don't show too much weird love though. I will kick you out.
Period.
Yeah, for real. Just to give us a moment, y'all. This is somebody actually that I'm bringing on here that who has been like so instrumental in helping me these past few months, just as a person with damn near anything and everything for real. She's been there helping me out literally since the day I met her. And she has just been a wonderful person. Seriously, just an A1 individual,
Thank
just a,
you.
just a really, really solid person, y'all. And she has been an instrumental part of a lot of the cooler things that have come into my life recently have been due to her. So shout out to
Aw.
you for that. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you
Of course.
so
I
much.
support you. You're genuinely talented and I try to support people who I genuinely fuck with.
Thank you. I appreciate you thinking of me as one of them people. You know what I mean? That's a beautiful thing for real. The first thing I really want to talk to you about is the power of kindness.
The power. The
Yeah,
power.
for real. The power of kindness. You know, how do you just keep that mentality with people? Because obviously being around each other, I see you interact with many people, and you keep that same, mentality no matter who you're talking to. You're really just like the best person. So what helps you, keep that?
I think it's a few things for me. I mean, I'm from Chicago, so like something very integral part of that is like just keeping it real and just being very real and honest and just being as authentic as I can be. And I also just feel like I don't know, I'm all about spreading positivity, like spreading love, because I guess you just never know. I think a while ago I decided like if I like someone's jacket, if I fuck with the way someone took a picture, I'm just gonna say it. Like I'm just gonna say it because you never know what might stick with somebody. And to me, it was just a quick snap thought, but that could be the thing that propels someone into their like photography career. That could be the thing that just changes that person's day around. And I've always just felt like like genuine kindness, can get you very far. And I mean, in the industry in the music industry, I mean, it's all about networking. And I think that if you could leave a genuinely good and lasting impression on someone, then oh, thank you, Amanda. I love her. Shout out to Amanda Side Pandy in the comments. I think that if you can leave a genuinely positive impression on someone, I mean, I think that can take you pretty far. And I think, like I said, it's all about that genuine kindness, not that like fake, phony, fake fuck with somebody. Like
Not
I
that
think
weird
there's a
stuff.
way. Yeah, that's weird. I think it's just about keeping it real and making sure you're treating everyone how you would want to be treated too. Like I know I want to be treated kindly and fairly and nicely. So of course I'm gonna put that out into the world and expect that back.
That's beautiful, and I feel like a lot of people need to, incorporate some of that philosophy into their dailies as well. Some people are kind of sticklers. They don't want to show no love to nobody, and I mean,
And I mean
that's
I
that's
get
how
it.
it be. That's how it be.
That's a different, if that's your philosophy, then that's your philosophy. Like to each his own. That's how I feel.
100%. What to you makes somebody a friend?
Oh my goodness. Damn. That's a good question. I think for a while I struggled with this thing of calling everyone my friend. Because I was like, yeah, I know your name. I saw you at this party. We're homies. And then I started to realize that it is important for me to discern who exactly I claim and who exactly I, keep in my circle. And as I've gotten older, I've definitely kept that circle a bit tighter. I try to be friendly to everyone, but I think that people who are my friends, who are in my circle, are definitely people who I'm awful at texting back. So if I text,
Right.
like if you are someone who I'm carrying a conversation with, or I'm constantly like kind of initiating that interaction, then yes, that's definitely a friend. But I think with deciding or with being like, oh, this person's my friend, it kind of takes time as well. Because I mean, with any relationship, but especially with friendships, that takes time, that takes experience, that takes kind of sharing experiences. And so I think that if I'm able to see you in all different kind of like circles of my life, whether it's like you come to my events, but I also invite you over to the crib, and I also invite you over to like my tia's carne asada, like, and I invite you over to like, we go support my homie's art exhibit. I invite you that. Then like, if I'm able to kind of, if you're able to kind of, I guess, see me in all my different, aspects, then I'm like, okay, this person is genuinely my friend. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, 100%.
Because I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I see this person, like I see them at Eastern all the time when Eastern was a thing. It's like, oh my God, I see
Yeah.
this person at Eastern, and there were homies. And it's like you actually don't know that person outside of that very specific context. So it's important.
I love the part that you said sharing experiences. I think that's a huge thing for like any kind of relationship, literally. Like whether it's romantic or friendship, people bond through experience, good
Hmm.
or bad. People bond through experience. So sharing experience, no matter what you do, if you're trying to make a partnership with somebody in any kind of fashion, is super important. And that's why your girl be like, let's go do things. To the
Yeah.
fellas listening. That's why your girl be like, let's do things, let's go out.
Let's bond. Let's share
Yes,
experiences
that's
together.
what she's really saying, y'all. That's what
Yeah,
she's actually saying.
exactly.
Whole time. How has DJing specifically, what you do, how has that shaped you and your life at this point?
Oh my God, I'm about to go on a rant, a long-winded, because
You know
whenever
what I
I
told you. You know what I told you. You know what I told you. It's okay. This is a safe space for you.
because whenever I talk about DJing, I feel like I have to give the background context of like,
We're here for it.
I wasn't entirely lined up to be a DJ. I went to UIC, I got my bachelor's degree in applied psychology. I was on this trajectory to go to law school. Like I really wanted to be a lawyer. That was my dream, that was my passion. I wanted to be this like agent of change in the system. And that was a really big task. And that's kind of what I dedicated all 4 of my school undergrad years to. And then right before I graduated, I got like really clinically depressed. And it was kind of because I was like, whoa, I actually am not entirely sure if this thing that I told myself I wanted is really what I want to do. And during that time, I had been like picking up on other interests and stuff. So like I had kind of learned how to start producing. I've always loved music. And I'd say music is really the thing that saves me because I've always loved music. I've always resonated with music. I've always like, and I know that's like a very cliche thing to say, but like I genuinely have always loved music. And so I remember I started as a project manager with Babes Only, and I wasn't a DJ yet. I was just kind of like Evie's. It was just honestly, it was just me and Evie. It was just me and her running and throwing all these events in the city, and she'd DJ and I behind the scenes, like project managing and making sure everything's good. And then I think one day I like was with her at her crib and we were having a meeting and she was like showing me like the controller and I was like, yo, I think I could fuck around and try this. And I remember it took months. So like the day I decided I think I might want to try DJing, what is nowhere near the day I actually, even purchased or even got my first controller. It took months to get to this, to even just start. And I truly believe that starting is the hardest part because it took me months and it took a lot of breaking down. I mean, to this day, I'll like, you know, sometimes suffer from like imposter syndrome because I'm like, like, do I deserve to be on this stage? I deserve to be getting all these bookings and da da da.
Could you elaborate on that? I've never heard that before. Imposter
Yeah.
syndrome. What is that?
So imposter syndrome is kind of this psychological phenomenon when like you, a very qualified person, do deserve to be in a space or a job or in anything, but for whatever reason, whether it's self-confidence or kind of like institutional racism, sexism, etc., you're kind of made to feel like, I don't know if this is right for me. I don't know if I am qualified to be in this position. And so for me, I never studied music. I took one guitar class that I never went to in high school. And I was like, oh, I don't have a musical background. I don't know how to read notes. I'm like, am I a worthy DJ? Like, do I deserve to be up here like getting bookings and doing these things when there are people who've been doing this for years who are not here or haven't made the stage? You know what I mean? So it's all these kind of like doubts. And so imposter syndrome is kind of that experience you feel when you're going through those doubts, when you're not entirely sure. And so that's kind of, to take it back, like that took a long time to get over when I started DJing. And I remember I told my mom, this was like back in March of like 2018, I think. And I was like, yeah, I think I want to DJ. And she was like, what? Like, but like, what are you gonna really do? Like, that can be your cute little hobby. And that was like really disappointing because my entire like Mexican ass first generation family was like, okay, that's cute, but like, you went to college, you have a degree, like, you want to start DJing? Like, and I had this office job. I was Little Miss Corporate America. And so that was back in March. And then finally, somehow I convinced my mom to buy me a Serato for Christmas, my controller. And my mom, even though she wasn't fighting it, she was the one who is kind of the reason I am a DJ. And so it was like December 2019, December 2018 that I got my controller, I practiced, and then Evie gave me my like first gig. And from then, I mean, DJing has really helped me kind of as a person just grow. I'm someone who can have really bad anxiety. And I mean, DJing has really helped me kind of find that zone where I am kind of meditating. Like, it is really meditative to be up there and just picking tracks and things like that. And so yeah, I mean, it's helped me grow as a person. It's helped me establish myself in my new identity. I mean, I feel like as people, we're always changing, we're always evolving. And this was kind of like Ashley, I went like Super Saiyan, you feel me? I like leveled up to the next person. And like, I'm really excited to see now that I've established and feel more comfortable in DJing, like, okay, like what's the next step? Does that make sense? Ooh, I told you that was going to be long-winded.
That's fine. And it was beautiful. Don't worry about that. When you say the next step, right? Does that mean your next venture or your next level, or like how are you exactly using that?
Yeah, when I say next step, I mean, it's kind of like for me, just simply starting DJing and starting to play in clubs and bars and festivals and things like that. Like, that was entirely, totally new. So it's like, I definitely want to continue evolving and growing as a DJ, but it's also like, because I kind of have that, I don't need to practice as much, and I don't need to like, I mean, obviously there's hours of practice that goes into it, but I kind of can figure that I can allocate that time a lot better. It's like, okay, what's next? Like, do I want to start working more with brands and do like curating with brands specifically, and kind of use myself as a DJ and my network and resources to help build that grow? And I think it's kind of like, what's next as far as Ashley the professional and Ashley the like eventual 30-year-old, yeah, the artist and the eventual 30-year-old who wants to have kids and a house. And like, it's like, what can I do now that's the next step that's going to set me up for when I'm 27, because I'm 24. So it's like, what am I going to do that's going to set me up when I'm 27, 29, 32? So I guess I'm such a long-term thinker. So I'm already thinking about like, okay, I'm working on this thing now, but like, what about my next 3 projects?
Yes, 100%. I feel like a lot of us artists are long-term thinkers because we have to be. I feel like we can be impulsive actors, but long-term thinkers.
That's a really good way to put it, because I still allow room for my impulsivity and my
Yes.
but at the end of the day, I'm always focused on the bag.
Right, 100%. 100%. Now you answered a little bit of the next thing I was going to ask you, which is, what would you be doing otherwise? You said you were going to school to be a lawyer. What was the original, enticement with that?
Well, yeah, I really wanted to be this like, I've always been very like social justice. I wanted to be this like agent of change, and I wanted to be the one that like goes into the, system and abolishes prison, and I thought I could single-handedly do that. And I still I'm obviously still very much active in this. Like I try to be active in the social justice scene and keeping up with what's happening and supporting those who kind of are a little bit more in the front line still. But I think I realized, I honestly think I hit a burnout at 21.
Mm.
Like I had just been doing so much selfless work, and it was really a wake up call when I graduated, and I was like, I haven't been listening to myself. I haven't been doing things that pique my passions or interests. And so I did want to be a lawyer. I did want to do that. And I always say that's like plan like D. Like if nothing works out, like I can still go to law school. But I also was like, I can't afford that. Like I don't want to graduate with $90,000 in debt working for, because the kind of lawyer I wanted to be was going to be one that didn't get paid shit. So it's like, I'm going to dedicate years and money to this, and then like, and it was really hard. It was really hard to let that dream go. And I think at this point, I mean that's why I love working with Babes Only, because we do things that are very social justice. It's a nonprofit, and we
Mm-hmm.
do things that are very centered around empowering and uplifting marginalized groups, which is something I've always been passionate about. And so I think I I love that I do that, and I'd love to continue to find ways to blend my music and my DJing with ways to continue empowering nonprofits and women and marginalized groups. And that's why I love DJing for like nonprofit groups. I DJed for a law school before. Like I love being able to use my service and use music as a way to support. And yeah.
That's amazing. If you can for a moment, please, you said something in there that just really sticks with me, and it's something that I struggle with personally and artistically, and I feel like maybe some other people do too, is changing your mind. How do you how do you deal with that? Because I know personally sometimes when I am confronted with, wow, like I'm changing courses here. I'm going
Hmm.
against what I said, against what I wanted at one point. And sometimes it can feel like, like I'm
Hmm.
betraying myself or I'm letting
Yeah.
certain people down. How did you deal with changing your mind, and how do you deal with changing your mind now?
Yeah, I mean, change is always difficult. We are creatures of habit. We are people who like, I mean, as humans, innately, we like a level of stability and kind of what to expect. And change can be really scary. And I think that I've always kind of tried to live with the mantra like be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because we truly grow in moments of discomfort.
Yes.
And like it also helps that I'm a Sagittarius, and we are the adventurers. We are the ones who are always like, okay, what's next? Like what's next? And but I think it's important to give yourself time to grieve when it is like something really big you're changing, whether it's like a career choice or moving cities, or that's a process. And that's not like that's it takes time. And only in rom-coms are they like, I'm moving to New York tomorrow to like start my magazine career. Like
And it's
that's not
perfectly
realistic.
okay.
Right. It's like, no, there's a lot of mental processes that go into that. And I think it's important to be gentle with yourself, to listen to yourself, but also to truly like dig deep and just look for what's speaking to you. Because I think a lot of times too, we have to discern between what is our voice and what is the voice of like my mother who didn't go to college and wants me to be the lawyer. What's the voice of society? Like what is it, like what's coming from a place of ego and what's coming from my soul. And I think that those are really important mental processes that go into changing your mind. And also I always try to tell people like there are no wrong decisions if you're living truly and authentically to yourself. Like even something as simple as like picking a banana over your yogurt, like for in the morning. Like, we are experts in deciding things for ourselves, and we need to give ourselves that agency and that kind of like that props, because our entire life we've been making changes and deciding. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like is as long as you're being authentic to yourself and what speaks to you, like you're never going to make a wrong choice. It might be scary, it might be unclear, you might not know what the outcome is, but if it's truly what is propelling you, and if you are truly propelling yourself and pushing yourself to make that choice, then it'll be the right choice.
Love it, love it. I definitely agree. I think that moment of, searching and finding that trust in yourself, to
Mm-hmm.
do what you should do for yourself is like a key part of that momentum building that kind of makes the changing your mind process okay, which is part of the grief,
Mm-hmm.
I'd assume, like that you mentioned. It's just
Yeah,
part of
because
all those steps.
when you're grieving, you're kind of grieving this fairy tale that you had in your head. I had to grieve me being this lawyer in the courtroom, like, you know what I mean? Like with my little suit on and
Yeah.
like, not to put it that like bluntly, but yeah, like I had to grieve. I had to grieve that graduation moment, that moment that would make my mom so proud. But then I realized there are other ways I can make her proud. There are other ways I can make myself proud. And again, if I'm being true and authentic to myself, then that's going to resonate and that light is going to shine. And my mom will see that I'm passionate about DJing and everyone else will see that and that light will shine.
100%. Now, you also mentioned that you enjoy, using your service to work with brands and things like that. But what has been the most random thing that you've DJ'd?
The mo- so for a hot second, I was doing like a lot of DIY ass like parties, and honestly, I love DIY, like just random art shows where everyone's drinking PBR in like someone's like garage kind of apartment. Like, you know
Hmm.
what you feel me? Like just I've DJ'd a few of those, and I like it because I can like do whatever. I can play whatever, and people are just vibing.
No
God, I'm
phones in
trying
sight, just vibes.
type shit. And I'm trying to think as far as like DJing at law school was pretty random and interesting.
What went into that? What exactly did you do?
I someone just reached out to me and was like, "Yeah, my law school has this party every year, and like we want you to DJ."
Oh,
And
really?
I was like, "That's crazy." Okay, like, did y'all know I applied here? Like, did
Oh, yeah, right, right.
you?
What's good with them scholarships?
Type shit. Y'all got DJ scholarship?
Yeah, pay me in scholarships.
Um, but I'm trying to think. That was random. What else? I did like one wedding. It was like, you know what? This wedding was kind of random. It was my first wedding, but it was also like heavy metal. Like they were like he was in a heavy metal band.
What?
And so they were like, yeah, she was like, yeah, you could do like somewhere like the spectrum of like reggaeton to heavy metal. I was like,
That is the spectrum,
I was
ma'am.
like, that's quite a spectrum, but fuck it. Like, I'll do it. And it ended up being so much fun. Like, it was a blast. Like, I'm definitely trying to do
I
more
bet.
like quinceañeras and like baptisms and stuff. Cause, like, as random as they sound, people are just there to turn up and have a good time.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's pretty random.
Anybody listening, your little sister, your little cousins, got a 15 coming up. DJ Mo Mami, Booker, Booker in advance.
I honestly, I'd love to DJ quinceañera. So it's like, if anyone has a quinceañera,
Y'all got 15s coming up. Let her know.
someone
Y'all
turning
hear it.
15.
Y'all hear it. Somebody's little sister, little cousin, or daughter,
Exactly. Exactly.
or daughter. Somebody's daughter
Exactly.
is turning 15. With you know, us both being freelance artists and whatnot, and I know a lot of other people watching this also conduct freelance business. What are some things to you that let you know that a client, values you?
Oh, that's a really good question. That's a good question. Because being valued and respected, not only as a DJ and as a freelance artist, but as a woman in these spaces is like very important. I'm dealing with a lot of intersectionality when I enter a lot of spaces. And I think definitely what helps me feel valued is when I'm paid my rate, like off bat, when like I'm given my rate or like, more than above my rate. I'm like, okay, this is a brand, this is a someone that respects and values what I do and does I press buttons and $25. Like I've been offered some pretty low rates and I'm just like, yikes, like no
Same.
offense, but like this is like there's a lot that goes into this. Like your party wouldn't exist if I weren't here. Like you feel me? So that definitely I think finances is really important because also it lets me know that like this person sees me as more than just someone who presses buttons. This person sees me as someone who has a light bill and has rent and has to support myself and has to feed myself. And so also I love when I'm given kind of like creative freedom. And so I've DJed a few places, and I don't like DJing places that are like, oh, top 40s only, like minimal hip hop. If you're gonna play hip hop, only like Nicki Minaj, Cardi B. Like, I don't like giving this like laundry list of what I can and can't do because it makes me feel like you don't trust me. You don't trust me to do my job effectively.
Right. 100%. I 100% feel that.
I think that resonated with everybody. Is trust is when
Yes.
someone makes me feel like they trust me as an artist, then that's when I'm like, okay, this person values me and they value what I do and they value my creative agency. And so, yeah, I think those are two really important things for me.
I just want to add on a little second real quick. I know it'll sound almost weird and nonsensical, y'all, but some of the best client experiences I've had have been with clients who have told me almost nothing to do because in the sense of them telling me that, right, we obviously finances are agreed upon, now I'm showing up, right, along with them not really telling me much to do. It's because I'm there. They got me to come do my thing, so they don't need to come and explain to me how to be me, you know. So just think about that, y'all. If you're in a situation where somebody comes and gets you for an event or whatever you're doing, and you know their instruction list is very minimal, very non-descriptive, it's because they want you and they want you to be you. Now, of course, if you got questions, obviously ask questions, but I'm just saying don't take that as they're uninterested in you, because
Right.
I know when that first started happening to me, I was kind of like, wow, does this person not even care? But it was really just them saying, Jordan, we love who you are and we love what you do. Can you just go be who
Just
you
do what
are
you
and do what
do.
you do?
I hate a micromanager. I hate a micromanager
For
in
real.
any capacity. Even when I was working for the man in corporate,
For the
I was
man.
like, don't don't micromanage me. Don't try to sit here and tell me. Like, I've had a few instances while I'm DJing where people like the sound guy or the person is like, okay, like, do you think you can switch it up now for the other people in the room? And I'm like, I'm gonna play this Bad Bunny. Like, I'm gonna
Right.
play this Bad Bunny. Because the thing is, I hate a micromanager because then it comes down to trust. Because it's like, you'd be surprised, and this is where my expertise come in. You'd be surprised who exactly is gonna fuck with Bad Bunny, or who exactly, like, you think, oh, I have this crowd full of XYZ demographic, you need to play this Mo Mami. But it's like, trust me, like, I know how to get the vibe going. You're fucking up my vibe, which is fucking up the vibe of the room. So, like, just let me be.
These vibes can't be transferred authentically when you
Also
messing up the
love,
vibe connection.
I also love when a place is very generous with their drink tickets. Because then
Yes.
I love that. Because then, if I have my photographer homie there, or like if I have my homies there who
Facts.
came to support, or my other DJ homies, I can, like, hand out drink tickets, which makes them fuck with the establishment more. So drink tickets
100%. I know how
key.
that goes. Super plug. Now, to add on to that, right? It's not exactly a question more than I just want to know your perspective and experience being a freelancing businesswoman. What has that been like for you?
It was definitely a process to see myself as so much more than just a DJ, and I think I owe a lot of credit to Evie
Shout
the
out
Cool.
Evie, y'all.
Shout out
She is
Evie.
literally a genius, super dope person, very supportive also, and amazing. So when y'all
She
hear that
has
name Evie, just know it's an amazing person that we're talking about.
seriously. She has been monumental in kind of show, because she's been in the industry for like 6 years, and she's been monumental in showing me that, like, we as DJs are like, our network, who we know, what we bring to the table is so valuable. And she's the one who's helped me see that, like, everything is so interconnected if I want it to be. It's all about how I kind of present myself. And it got to a point where I was just like, damn, I'm not just Mo Mami. Like, I'm Mo Mami, like, entertainment, like ENT type
Yes.
shit. I was like, because when someone books me for an event and I'm able to, like, do you need another DJ? Do you need vendors? Do you need a sponsorship? And I'm able to kind of, and always kind of tie it back to Evie, because she did kind of trust me to help her run her organization, Babes Only. And I was her project manager. And so being able to kind of curate and throw events on such a large scale kind of really helped show me how, like, yes, DJing kind of gets me in the door, but my mind and what I'm capable of producing and doing is what kind of solidifies it and helps people want to work with me.
100%. Yeah, you definitely have a ton of things to bring to the table, and I think that's great food for thought For any multidimensional person like you, especially on the woman's side,
Mm-hmm.
stick to your guns and know what you have to offer. If y'all were listening there, I hope you were if you're watching this, but she said when these people are contacting her, she said not only can she be the DJ, but she can facilitate so many other things that are going on with their event. Think about what kind of value that gives a company when not only you can play the music, but yeah, I can actually get you your liquor sponsor. I can, set up all these other things for you that you're probably so far behind on because you're already asking me to DJ 4 days out.
Type shit. So, that's a really good point. Yeah.
So just think about that. All freelancing people, what else do you bring to the table when you set it?
And also, like, what else too? Because something I started to realize too is like, when I'm DJing, when I'm doing these things, like, it's because it's not only like what do I bring, but also like who can I bring in that like is something, where always thinking about yourself in a much more business perspective. So it's like reaching out to brands for clothes because if I'm DJing, I'm going to be seen in clothes. I'm going to be recorded in clothes. I'm going to be like one of my other friends who's a DJ, she wears sunglasses every time she DJs. And she reached out to this like little boutique sunglass company and was like, yo, send me some sunglasses and I'll wear them and tag you in every picture. And just something, it's kind of like, look at what you do and really like already. And then how can you get that shit for free because of what you offer? Or how can you get paid to do this thing you were going to do anyway because you like it, but because me specifically as a DJ, but even as a photographer, as a recording artist, as anything, how can you always get some free shit? That's always the goal. Free shit or paid.
Yes, 100%. 100%, y'all. Just use your resources for real. Use your resources and use your confidence.
Yeah, for sure.
Those ideas that you think about are usually good ideas. Where ideas fail is execution. That's
Hmm.
where ideas fail. Ideas don't fail in the thought process. They fail during execution. So keep that in mind. Now, you already said, Evie was a big part of teaching you those things, but what exactly was it, and how exactly did she open your eyes to conducting business and things like that? What kind of things did she specifically teach you,
It's
potentially,
it's
or
kind
told
of
you that you didn't otherwise know?
it's kind of hard because it wasn't a level of like, she's kind of sitting giving me like a diagram. It was kind of just in working with her and being
Yeah.
CC'd in these emails and she I would say she's someone who is just so open with her resources. She is not, and I kind of got this mantra from her as far as like, there is no competition. I'm not someone who's like, oh, I don't want to like, connect with this person because they're also a new DJ. Like she kind of taught me there's enough resources and funds to go around. And like, if I'm winning, we should all be winning. It's not fair if like she's the only one eating and here I am helping her with everything and she's not sharing those resources or putting me on in some way. And I think that so a few things, I think really just seeing how she talks to brands, seeing one thing that was really important that I kind of learned from her was don't be afraid to ask. Don't like if you need $500 from this liquor sponsor, ask for it. Create a deck, explain why this is a valuable partnership, if it's with this exclusive bar that you DJ for that this liquor could get in on, or if it's like, for this really cool party concept that you have. All brands really want to do is spend money. And she taught me that. She was like, all they really have is marketing. And this is an aspect of marketing, is
Mm.
curating, that's all All-Star Weekend was all these brands looking for people to curate and throw events. But it's like, being able to do that on a schedule kind of all year round is really important. And she was the one who kind of taught me like, yeah, these brands have money, they want to spend money, and they want like someone who's going to be able to execute it. And so she was kind of the one who helped me show like, don't be afraid to ask. Kind of like also Issa Rae talked about this. I remember I went to like one of her like talks, one of her panel talks, and she talked about like it's really important to do like kind of like within networking. So like don't just shoot for the CEO, or don't just shoot for like the DJ who's been doing this 15 years and is super plugged up. Like reach out to your homie who just started too, because like you never know who knows who. And in a place like Chicago, someone might be damn near related to someone or went to
Mm-hmm.
grammar school with someone. Like I love when you had a star on here because me and a star went to grammar school together. And
Oh,
so
that's
it's
raw.
like, did I know I was gonna end up in the music industry years later? No, but like, he is someone who I'd love to work with or collab with, at some point. And it's like these are people in my circle. Your circle is so, so important and valuable. You never know who like or who you could give someone their start and then they kind of go off to their own thing and then y'all meet up later and bring all your resources together. So she kind of taught me like everyone is interconnected. And also she taught me if I go to like another city, try to really, make friends there and put people on there. And so whenever I have homies who visit from out of town, I'm instantly like taking them everywhere, introducing them to everywhere. And then they kind of do the same thing when I have a friend in LA and he put me onto a lot of his people out there. And I'm really extra grateful for that because now I kind of have a network out there if I want to execute something out there. And it's kind of about just like expanding.
100%. I love that. And she's definitely a unique kind of individual, for being open about those things. A lot of people are not that generous.
Yeah,
So when you
for
meet people
sure.
like that, you definitely have to be grateful first and foremost and share it and cherish that a
Yeah.
lot
I'm
because
always really grateful that she ended up as my mentor. And it's funny because like we neither of us kind of expected it to happen. She's like, "Yeah, I just really liked your work ethic. I really liked working with you." So I was like, "Yeah." And it's been beautiful being able to grow from like professional to like also just personal and talking about like you know, personal problems and stuff. So that's been really monumental. And I honestly don't think I'd be as far as where I am now because of her. So that's why I'm just like, I'm always like, yeah, I wouldn't be where I am without my community. So why would I sit here and be stingy? Like, of course, I'm gonna give that back. I'm gonna give people opportunities and as best as I can. So
right, 100%. That's communal thinking, y'all. Communal thinking. Just
yeah.
overall, put your homie on. Hashtag put your homie on.
Yeah.
Like,
Hashtag, we put that a movement. Hashtag put your homie on.
yeah, for real. Put your homie on. Hashtag also when your homie puts you on, don't act a fool. But put your homie
Right. Make sure
on.
you practice and do come
Yeah,
through,
for
but
real.
for sure.
For real. Now, you told us how you felt about DJing, and how it's been instrumental in your life. But I want to know to you, from you, what is DJing?
Oh, DJing? Oh my God. It's you're curating a vibe. You are up there
I
basically
believe
it's
we talked about you say I'm sorry, but the curating a vibe thing, didn't we say that? Well, I forgot what was going on. We were somewhere, but that sounds so familiar.
probably
Like a
an
vibe
event.
curator. Like, yeah,
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 it's
professional
truly
vibe
a
curator.
professional vibe curator because really if you I'm someone who really believes in like energy and things like that, and I feel like as a DJ I'm sitting there kind of like figuring out the energy of the room, trying to figure out, and I always want it to be good, positive, uplifted, carefree, positive energy. And so I try to translate that energy through my music. And so like I'll play like also as a woman, I want the girls to dance. Like I want the women in the room to feel safe. I want them to feel like they can throw their ass. And I want them to hear female rappers. Like I want to throw ass to, Meg the Stallion and like Baby Mother and stuff like that. And so I think that's what's so unique about every DJ is that every DJ is unique in their own energy, like what they bring. And like I've been with DJs where I'm just like, oh, okay, like you do a really cool, like chill happy hour vibe. Like I like that because it's also like know where your lane is too. Because it's like trap is really hard for me. Like trap and
Mm,
hip hop are really hard for me, but that's Evie's like bread and butter. But I'm like house queen. Like I can do house music 8 hours straight. I can do so it's like it's about figuring out like for I guess with the DJing, like yeah, each DJ has their own kind of lane, their own specialty. and that's why they get, booked for whatever it is they're booked for. But it's definitely up there just curating the vibe and just also having fun. Like, I think with DJing when I first started, I was so in my head and I was just like, oh, the number one thing of DJing is do not get in your head because then you're gonna overthink and just you have to kind of let yourself be open and vulnerable in that way where you have to like go with the flow. And it's so hard for me to go with the flow sometimes, but yeah. Oh, someone said I'm DJing someone's wedding in the comments. I can't wait. We're still
That's
doing this.
beautiful.
Quarantine or not, y'all still get married and I'm still DJing it. We gonna live stream the wedding. But yeah.
For real, that's next level.
But yeah, that's what I would say. I'm trying to think of anything else. Cause yeah, I've seen some DJs where I'm like, okay, like I've seen some male DJs specifically where I'm like, you're playing to your boys, which is
Speak
cool. Like that's great. I'm glad your boys are having a good time, but like I can't throw ass to this. Like, and you're doing this for so long. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is the only thing you're doing. Like, we gotta switch it up in here. And so yeah. Professional vibe curator.
Professional vibe curator. PVC, if you will.
A P. I'm gonna put that. You know how people have like little PhD, little
Yeah.
PV.C. Like
Mo Mami bracket PVC. In the bracket.
Period.
Have you ever made a mix for someone you like?
I almost did. I had the little playlist ready and everything.
Ooh.
I've been making like love playlists. Like I'm a little lover sappy ass bitch, and
yeah,
I actually
100. Me too.
I would love to do that. Like make a mix for someone who like I love and care about. I don't think I've ever like made a mix for anyone, but I've always had that dream of like for my friends' birthdays or things like that. I want to like make a mix specifically for something that I think they would like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I might do that. And also like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck around, make like an in love mix. And like, even though it's for my bae, like I'm gonna send like, fuck it, we're gonna put it on SoundCloud. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not the
right,
only
right,
bitch in love in here.
Yeah,
I ain't the only bitch in love.
For real, 100%. Can you speak a little bit about the importance? I know the organization Babes Only that you work with, you and Evie are just huge on this. This is pretty much your overall philosophy. So I want to know from you the importance of including women in creative scenes, spaces, and places.
For sure. I mean, I will say I got a little spoiled with Babes Only because I'm so used to spaces where it's only women, like only women. And when we say we are throwing women curated events, we are throwing women curated events from top to bottom. So like the photographer, the graphic designer, the DJs, the like we try to work with women-owned liquor brands, women-owned bars, like everything we try to, and we are very successful at keeping it women centered and oriented. And I think it's really important. Again, in this industry, in the creative industry, it's all about networking. It's all about who you meet. It's all about who you know. And I love that we can provide safe spaces for that. Because a lot of times, if it's not a babes only event, I'm like the only girl DJ, or you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't mind it.
100.
Like that's fine. I get it. But it's also like if I wanted to meet another woman DJ, or if another femme identifying DJ or photographer or something, so much of the people who they first call is their boys or the person that they know. Or I've heard this, they're like, yeah, I reached out to like my 2 DJ female friends and they weren't free. And I'm like, I could name 37 off the top of my head in Chicago, like that you could have called if you were serious about actually including women
Right,
in
not
your
trying
like
that hard.
Right. It's like, oh, it's almost as if for a lot of these men, it's inconvenient for them to try to reach out to like women or, and I'm just like, that's bullshit because like there's so many people in this city or so many women, femme identifying people in this city who are creative. It's just that like it's such a male dominated industry. And so I think spaces like Babes Only are critical in not just, helping women feel like they can turn up freely, but also network and meet other like, people. Cause we do this thing every other month, which I can't wait till this quarantine is over because I haven't, done any events and I'm so excited to do our Babes Only Bazaar, which is every other month. And it's just a space where we get like 17 women who make soaps, women who read tarot cards, women who like do so many different things
For
all
real,
under
it's a
one
big
roof.
mix.
Yeah, it's a huge mix. And then we have, women DJing, we have women bartending. And it's like, it's cool because I've been working with it for about a year and a half now. And from it, I've seen other people like use, like, if this one person who makes soaps is having an event, she uses the bartender from our event because she met her there and they really vibe. And I'm just like, that's just really fucking dope that we can do that and like support and just bring awareness to all the wonderful creative people there are in the city. And again, I do not believe in like the, oh, we're competitive, like there's limited resources. Like, no, that's fucking awesome that this bartender that you met at our event is like now y'all, or like people become homies, like people
Hmm.
build like really strong friendships from our events. And I'm just like, that's what this life shit is all about. Like we're all very interconnected, and I love that we can provide a space for that.
100%. Y'all definitely do, and I can definitely merch. Like when I go to y'all stuff, it's female oriented top to bottom. The DJ, the host, like you said, the photographer, even, all that stuff is 100% geared towards women. And I think that's super dope that y'all stick to that,
Yeah.
because I know there's probably hella dudes trying to get in on what y'all are doing, whether it's for the access to the girls or money. And y'all stick to, like your mission statement type thing.
Yeah.
And I think that the integrity that displays is very honorable. I feel like y'all are a very honorable organization.
We try to, and it's like the thing that's cool about it too is like, I guess to go back to your question about things Evie taught me, I am a control freak. I can
Hmm.
really get wrapped up in my head about, I'm a perfectionist. I want things to go perfectly, like aligned. And Evie was the one who taught me. Me and her are so good at balancing each other because she's like, it's all good. Like no one's gonna get mad at us. Like stress free. And that's what I loved about working with women too. Is like, I've noticed in other spaces it's just so rigid and it's so
Hmm.
like, oh, like you're sick and you can't hop on this call about this thing. Like it's like you're gonna be chastised for it. But like with Babes Only, it's like if
That's
you're not
men stuff. I
like
swear.
it's like with us, it's like if you're not feeling, we're multidimensional beings. If you're not feeling up for something, like if you're not feeling up for a meeting or if something happens, if your babysitter cancels on you last minute, like we're not gonna get like we're gonna have to figure out like we're gonna have to problem, solve. But like it's never like it's never that. Like it's
Hmm.
never like that serious. And that's what I love about working with Evie and working with Babes Only too, is it is a holistically like good. I love working for it. It's holistically from professional to my mental health. It's so amazing to work with Babes Only.
100%. Women definitely do have that more like open and understanding vibe to them. I know, like personally, I was in a day job where I was doing sales, and there was like maybe like three or four girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I switched it up and went to a different job where I was one of five dudes. And working there was just a totally
Different.
different thing. I was like,
Different
I
vibe.
remember like one day I said out loud, like, my head hurts. And they're like, you want to go home? I'm like, yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do want to go home. Yeah.
You, as
What
you
you, like, how
should.
did you figure that out so fast? You know me so well. Like,
Do you want to go home?
right. They're like, if you want to, get an Advil from the break room and you can head out. I'm okay. Say less. This is amazing.
Yeah, because it's all about because if you're not feeling how can I demand anyone like bring their produce work if they're not feeling 100%, like themselves? If they're having a bad day, they just got broken up with, like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it before this
Yeah,
meeting. Like, because
facts.
you're bringing that into our meeting and we deserve to acknowledge that and deserve to acknowledge that maybe that's why you're not as talkative right now. Like,
Right.
you got to be authentic to yourself, and that sometimes that's being real about if you're not having a good day either.
100%, y'all. Be more real with yourself so you can be more real with everybody else. Period.
Exactly.
I like to flip it around this time. Did you have
Oh my God.
anything from me, anything you wanted to know, any information I can provide
Well,
to
I'll
you.
say this. Can't people ask me questions?
Yeah, the
Like, isn't there like a
questions
question and answer thing down there?
questions are always open. I
So
feel
if
like
anyone has a
people
question
just
for me or us,
just
like,
choose to just watch. Yeah, if there's
ask it away because I
questions are
love.
always open, y'all. There's a button right there at the bottom in your control panel or in the comments. It doesn't matter. But y'all 100% can ask questions right
Um,
now.
I will say this. How did this concept of conversations, like, is this something you've always wanted to do and now was like the perfect time, or
Okay, so first and foremost, it starts with missing y'all. Like for real. Like
missing human
as
interaction?
that, but specifically like my creative friends. Like you know this about me. I might not have told you actually, but some other people do. Like I don't live in the city. I'm from up north.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, so it's all like not only are we in this quarantine, but then I'm also like hella far in general from y'all. How do I stay connected with my homies?
Hmm.
How do I maintain these relationships, and how do I how do I help them grow in times like this? When I'm a very, like, people think I'm in the business, but I'm in the business of helping people. Period.
That's real.
Like that's what I do. You
Hmm.
know, so at least that's what I feel like I do. But
You do.
the
No, I mean,
yeah,
this within and of itself is very powerful work because you're
thank you.
keeping you're providing content, you're maintaining something, connected. You're doing something that you would have did anyway. Like you could have FaceTimed me anyway, you know what I mean? But you're bringing it on, you're doing it on a platform and in a way that keeps us connected to everyone else too. So, okay, we have two questions. I
Yeah,
have
do
one.
you have workshops on learning how to DJ?
I don't have any workshops, but maybe I should like go live.
That's a babes only thing.
I
You
just
could
downloaded
curate it.
TikTok. I just downloaded TikTok and I was thinking of doing like little quick like videos on like this is what these buttons do. You know what I
Ooh,
mean? And
we'd
like
love
kind
it.
of expanding. You feel me? Maybe. So
That would honestly be a good tutorial for real.
yeah,
I
I
feel like a
love
lot of
that.
people don't fully know their controllers. That would be dope.
Yeah. I mean, even me, like I think I maybe barely kind of learned what everything does. But it's just cool also to see how one DJ does it because the same DJ could use that same button for something totally different. You're just like, oh shit, that's cool. So no, but I think as far as like a basic tutorial, I'd love to do that. I would love to do that. So I might. Let's see.
Facts.
Um,
How do the both of you power through creative blocks? I'll let you take the lead on that.
That's a good question because sometimes I've had creative blocks while I'm literally on like stage and I'm just like, I don't know what to do next. And um I think it's about always like giving yourself that moment to be dramatic. Like, don't try to fight it because you're just gonna like waste energy fighting it. Just be like, okay, I'm clearly freaking out. And like for me, it's usually like, what's happening? Like, let me try to address what's happening. Like, is this my first time DJing for this bar? Do I not, is the crowd not dancing? Like, that's kind of like how I like to execute is I try to like figure, okay, like what exactly is happening? Or if it's like, for me, if it's happening while I'm DJing, I'm just like, fuck it. We're gonna play music that I really like to hear, that like helps me calm down regardless. And so it's again, I'm like, we gonna listen to some Bad Bunny, y'all. Like, sorry, I like we're just gonna listen to my box until like it kind of sticks. And usually like it's like there's this moment where the fog kind of clears and I'm just like, okay, like I'm back. Like the crowd actually was kind of live. I was just in my head and I had these anxiety goggles on. And so I try to like kind of let myself be dramatic, like do something that's going to help me feel better, whether it's like take a sip of my drink or like for me also when my friends come to my sets it's really important because like I'll be freaking out but I see my friend and we smile or they like kind of do like a little twerk and I'm like yes, okay, we're good. So that's kind of how I power through my very specific creative block.
With me, it's two things. It's first and foremost starting, right? And then secondly, it's the process of elimination. So I start winging it so that I figure out what I don't want to do and what I don't want to see. all right, I don't like it like that, so I'm gonna not do that
Mm-hmm.
part, and I'm gonna just keep refining that, refining that, refining that. Eventually, it will lead me to what I want, or the idea that'll lead me to what I want. Those two things are usually like very reliable for me personally. We have
That's a
another one here.
really good way to put it.
Thank you. Where do you find inspiration when you're creating a mix? We got that right there.
Oh, Tito, I love you. This is my boy Tito. We've been homies since college. This is what I was thinking about, like friends who come to my sets that I'm just like, when I see them, I'm like, I calm down. It's like Tito and his partner Sam. I'm always like, oh, there they are. We're good. We're good. But where do I find inspiration when I'm creating a mix? So I actually created my first mix recently that's on Mixcloud. It's on the Babes Only Mixcloud, but I'll repost it on my Mixcloud. And that was just kind of like, it's always like what I'm kind of into that week. And so I'll get into some like really heavy vibes. So I'll like, be real like dembow y reggaetoni one week. And so I'll like, and that's just also, I think it kind of revolves around a few things. So if like some new music just dropped that's like really hot, I'm kind of gonna be in that vibe. So like Thundercat just dropped a really amazing new album,
Hmm.
and I've been kind of on this like really chill funk vibe, and so I'd love to do like a chill funk mix. Or I love house music, and so like when the weather gets nice, I'm all about my like house jams, all about my
Facts.
Paul Johnson. But I don't know. I think it kind of just depends on what mood I'm in that day. Who is like what's kind of hot that I'm listening to right then and there. But it's also kind of random. Like right before the quarantine started, I was in a heavy disco mood, so I was just listening to hella disco. And
It's your boy Suave Hooligan, and I'm here to let you know that the conversation continues.
hey man, I forgot.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to cut
You're
you off. You were
fine.
going hard, so I didn't want to cut you off.
I
I
forgot
definitely want to let you
Instagram.
get that off. I'm
Yeah, they have
sorry.
that like hour
Yeah,
like
it
cap,
caps at an hour.
which is petty, but
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
you're okay.
The question was, where do you find your inspiration when working on a mix? And you cited some house, some chill funk, and what else
Oh
do you do?
yeah. I was gonna say that I always try to blend old and new. So you'll like when you come to my sets, like I'll play new stuff and old stuff across all genres because like I'm a throwback ass person and I'm a very nostalgic person. And I love when people hear music that they're just like, oh, I forgot I fucked with this, or I forgot how heavily I fuck with this. And like I love playing a song that people are like, I know this word for word. So like I played Smack That by Akon, and people were
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh shit, smack that!" But like, it's so instinctual.
You'd be like,
Because,
what?
and I'm just like, yeah, this song was hard, and so yeah,
Most
I definitely
definitely.
like to keep it across all fresh and old across all platforms.
Just to let y'all know, also, whoever's watching this, whoever's going to watch this, questions are open at all times.
Yeah,
When I do this, questions are always open. Everyone is important. Everyone is involved. You can ask a question at any time, for real.
yeah, always ask us stuff.
Thanks to everyone. Y'all have been obviously the biggest part of this. I wouldn't have kept doing this if y'all wasn't coming to see me at all. Regardless of who I bring on
You
here.
like Oprah. You like Oprah right
Hey, you get alive. You get alive. You get alive.
Oh, it says
What's
Asara
good,
said, "What's
Calvin?
your favorite? What's your favorite event you've DJ'd over the past year?"
Mm,
Oh, okay. I will say it was a first, but I loved DJing for Foot Locker during All Star Weekend. That was my first like really big corporate event ever, and that was tons of fun. Also, okay, it wasn't this year, but it was within this like year, if you could put it that way. When I DJ'd Easter Room during the closing weekend,
mm.
that shit was live. And it was crazy because I have been going to Easter Room since I was like 19 with my little fake ID. And Easter was one of the places where I was like, hey, it don't exist no more. I can say that. I'm grown now. I
Facts.
can say that. But Easter was one of the only places I could go and really hear some like juke music, some like trap shit, some like house music. And I was like, this place is a vibe. So when they asked me to DJ like that Black Wednesday that was the final weekend, that Thanksgiving Black Wednesday.
So salty I was working. I wanted to go too. And when I saw you on there, I was like, oh my goodness, why am I in this situation?
Hell yeah. So, and I remember my mom came to that set at East Room, and that was her first time. Like, my mom's not much of a clubber, but she came out with me. And that was her first time really seeing me like on the mic, like seeing the crowd go crazy. And she was like, it was a really solidifying moment too, where she was just like, damn, like, you do this. She was like, you really are a DJ. And I'm like, yeah, you see, she was like, she was on her Snapchat. She was on her Snapchat recording, sending it to my sisters. She was like, yeah, every song Ashley put on, they'd start singing and the crowd would go, whoa. I love my mom. She's so cute. And so it was really great having her there for this like insanely like cool space during this crazy weekend. So that was probably like one of my favorite gigs. Not that RIP East Room.
That's beautiful. And it's funny that tied in to what it tied into, because the question that I received for you is this. I don't know if you can see, but I'll read it to you. Tell them about your mom.
Sorry, my phone told me that it's dying. My mom is very amazing. She is one of probably the biggest inspiration for me DJing, even though she gave me so much flack. My mom is the reason I DJ all my house music. Like, a lot of my gigs are like in honor of her, because, you know, I just always want to make her proud. She means so much to me. She has sacrificed so much to me. But me and her specifically, like, have been through so much together. And so, sorry, y'all, I live on Ashton Avenue, which is always filled with sirens.
You good. So, we cultured over here. We cultured.
Damn, they have 3 cop cars. Anyway, my mom is just like my biggest inspiration, and she, like I said, sacrificed so much. And like when I graduated college, she like wrote me this little like thing that was like, all the beauty or all my hopes and dreams exist in your soul. And I was just like, oh my God, Mom. Like, and so
that was heavy, honestly.
I cried.
I felt that, like, I literally just felt that here.
And she just sacrificed so much, and she's been through so much, and I just always aspire to make her proud. And she didn't go out much ever growing up. She got married at like 14, 15. So like when I started DJing, she started going out more. She started, wearing less, going out more. And I was like, okay, I love to see it. And every time I DJ somewhere, her number one question is, are you going to play some house? You going to play some house? Because she loves her some house. And so honestly, the only reason I'm as raw of a house DJ as I am is because of my mom, because she has excellent, spectacular taste. So shout out to my mom.
Facts. That's beautiful. Y'all are funny. Are you going to play some house? We're gonna,
I'm like, Mom, it's Harvey's. Or I'm like, Mom, I don't know if I'm going to. She's like, okay, I'll still go.
Facts. I'm gonna take one more here for you. This is actually a really good one.
Oh, okay. One more question.
Have you ever tanked?
What does that mean?
Like, have you ever done bad? If so, how'd you deal with it in the moment, and how do you feel?
Yes. I don't remember exactly what gig it was, but I do feel like I remember a specific moment where I was just like, I had a really bad gig when I was out in LA because I was very nervous and I was very in my head. And I would say that was probably not the worst gig I've ever done, but like it was a moment where I was like, wow, I really wanted to do good. Like, this is my like second time DJing here in LA. Like, I really wanted to just have this banging, beautiful transition. And I think as creatives, but also just as humans, like, we're gonna fail. Like, fail is inevitable. And the more you try to fight it, the more you try to like, then I think moments where we do tank or don't live up to our personal standards are learning moments. They're uncomfortable moments, but they're necessary moments, because if I would have just like quit DJing and like after that moment, then I wouldn't have gotten all these other dope opportunities, but I also wouldn't have gotten better. And I think that in that moment when I tanked, and it sucked, and I think I probably cried, and I was like, oh, I'm never gonna get booked again, and like, give yourself that dramatic moment, but try to learn from it. You feel me? Try to learn from it, and try to see where you could have improved, and just take it as a learning lesson and take it as a blessing, and also like people fail every day. People tank every day. And it's just like, okay, that's cool. I think it's a problem if I would have committed the same mistakes twice. Then
Mm.
it's like, okay, I'm not learning. Like I'm just letting this get to me and get to my head. But I'm someone who's always trying to be better and to grow and to learn from my mistakes. I think we need to be more accepting and gentle with ourselves when we make mistakes. Because think about it like this, like we are not experts in everything, and sometimes we need to just talk to that like inner child in ourselves, like because you wouldn't yell at your 3-year-old sibling for something that we know is so basic to us. They're still learning, and that's kind of how we are always, like
The
we're
psychology
always
coming
still
out. I
learning.
love it.
Of course, we need
I
to be
love it. Give us
kind.
this game. Give us this
You need
game.
to be kind to that inner child in you, because if sometimes if we were brought up kind of yelled at for all of our mistakes, that might be how we react to ourselves. But it doesn't have to be like that. Like we can allow ourselves that kindness, that gentleness when we do make a mistake. So that's what I'll leave it on.
Facts, facts. That is beautiful. I wanna thank you again, for your time and for your thoughts here. You provided some great information, some great perspective for myself and everyone who is tuning into this and everyone who's going to tune into this. I appreciate you coming on, and just showing support. You've supported me through this whole thing, and I spoke in the beginning about how much you've done for me, period. So it's great to just have you here for real.
Of
And I really
course.
appreciate your time and participation.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing. This is just what I needed to get myself out of my little quarantine slump. And thank you to everyone who tuned in, all my homies, everyone who was like asking questions, just wilding in the comments. I love it. But yeah, thank you.
No problem. No problem at all. And